But first things first, the dollar, which has seen some upside since we last spoke, but looks like it's finding some resistance a little bit in the lower time frames. I'm keeping a close eye on this one because I am waiting for some retracement for potentially to sell the dollar back down again. We had that really big bearish move a couple of weeks back or a few weeks back over here. And since then, the price has kind of run out of steam and we've kind of formed a bit of a bottom here. So I am looking at some retracement for the dollar. We have seen some upside. I'm not very enthusiastic about the price action, how we've kind of shaped up. It's kind of like price is kind of rounded off and we've pulled back into the high of where we started to have that corrective nature. So the way we've pulled back isn't great. I would rather we've had some impulsive behavior here and slowly corrected to the upside like so, because that would be more of a characteristic which you would associate with a pullback. Something like this doesn't give me a lot of confidence to short. I do think in the short term, though, we have come back into some nice resistance. If I go to the daily chart, look to the left, there is some bearish indication here with all those wicks on the daily chart, and now we're back in that zone. So we possibly could see a bit of a downside move for the dollar. As to how far, as to if it's a continuation of that big bearish move we got a couple of weeks back, I'm not too sure on that just yet. I think from a lower time frame perspective, like hourly chart, you might catch a nice sell, possibly back into areas like such. But based on how prices move for the dollar, I'm waiting for a slightly deeper correction. Again, I gave out two areas for the dollar as to where I am happy to take some shorts, or at least looking for some shorts anyway. This level here being one of them, and the second level being this one here, around 105.5. I do have a bit more confidence there, so that's kind of where I'm hoping the dollar can get to. But at the moment, it looks like we are finding some resistance at 104.5. So judging the low time frames and how things are looking, it does look like dollar is seeing some exhaustion here of that bullish momentum over the past few days, and perhaps we could be in for a bit of a move to the downside. Like I said, I'm not so keen on the continuation just yet. I could be wrong. Possibly this does give us the continuation, but I'd rather have a slightly deeper pullback given how price is kind of shaped up. When we do get these bowl-shaped patterns, there's a pretty strong chance that price does eventually break to the upside. And we do see those bigger pullbacks or potentially reversals even. So with the dollar, I do like the downside opportunity, but 105.5 or 105.6 roughly is kind of where I want to see price get to. And yeah, if we can break through that level, that's what I'll be looking at next. If price does reject that, I'll kind of just see what we do as we approach back into this range again. And potentially might even have a deeper pullback afterwards. But overall, I'm still very bearish. I'm still looking for the continuation of this move here. I just want to see a healthy pullback of that. If I whip out the fib from the high to the low, you can see we've got some nice confluence there with the 0.5, 0.618 in this zone. So that's kind of where I want to see price get to. Of course, whether we get that pullback or not is completely up to the dollar. But yeah, we are seeing some exhaustion there. Perhaps we could see a nice intraday sell for the dollar there. And of course, that would mean for EURUSD, we might see some upside. And Euro, in fairness, has come back into that daily level as well, around 1.077. Hasn't quite got there on the lower time frames, but we just about wicked into it, as we can see. And we're seeing some similar price action as well. If I drop to the hourly chart, you can see a nice kind of double bottom here, and you can see how corrective price is as well. So it does look like EURUSD probably will give us a push to the upside as well. I'll probably say at least back to the upper end of that channel. So again, that could be a nice move for the day. Again, judging price action for Euro has been very, very corrective, kind of in this big bowl-shaped pattern as well. So it doesn't give me so much enthusiasm about a big continuation. So I'm kind of holding my horses for that just yet. But something like this, I think, looks pretty reasonable. At least back to 1.08. Perhaps we even get a break of that. But something like that looks like a reasonable trade. How many pips is that from current price? Roughly about 25, 30 pips to the upside, which is not a bad trade depending on your stop loss there. So yeah, EURUSD, I would expect a bit of a bounce. Like I said, I'm not completely sold on the bigger continuation just yet. I'll have to see how that does develop. But again, for euro, this is kind of the level I'm looking to see if price can get to. So it's a similar level to the DXY. If I draw the fib from the low to the high, you can see it lines up pretty well with the 0.5, 0.618 there. So I'm looking to see pricing retest those areas, come back to those fib levels, and hopefully form a higher low there, or give me price action that I can at least get into a buy. It doesn't necessarily have to continue all the way back to the high for me to make a profit, but that's where I do think we can continue from. But yes, from an intraday perspective, it does look like price is seeing some exhaustion there and perhaps could be getting ready for a bit of a move to the upside on the lower time frames. Pound USD, this one, again, looks like we're seeing a bit of upside there as well. Looks like dollar weakness is coming into the market pretty well there. Again, with pound USD, I've been at least looking for a pullback into 1.28. That has not come into fruition at all. If I go to the daily chart, so I was at least looking for a pullback to retest the high here, preferably retest the consolidation back over here. That's kind of where I would really like to see a pullback into. So roughly 1.28, 1.27 are the areas I'm consulting. But again, with pound USD, it looks like we're seeing a little bit of momentum right now, but I'm not really too convinced. Overall, momentum is still very, very corrective here. So maybe we see a push back to the highs again, maybe some new highs. But overall, if we stay in this corrective nature, I do think that larger pullback will happen at some point in time. And that's the pullback I'm looking for to actually trade and find a higher low from. So overall, to me, pound USD looks really corrective still. Not really too convinced by pound USD's price action right now. It's very, very fatigued right now. So again, possibly could see another push back to resistance there, but I would be looking for anything more than that. Overall, pound USD still looks really, really tired. And I do think a bigger pullback is still very much on the cards, but maybe we do see a bit of push to the upside if the dollar is going to maybe see some downside as well. But again, the buys I'm after is still back into 1.28 or back into 1.27. Really nice zones there on the daily chart, where I do expect to see a bit of a bounce there. If I expand to the daily, so retest that prior high or retest of this range, which gave us a really nice break to the upside. We haven't yet came back to retest. So I do like that area for a long. If we go on to dollar CAD, so dollar CAD, I'm looking for another push to the upside before I do get back into some shorts. Overall, it does look like support on the left is still very much holding. I don't be shorting directly into that level. We've got resistance around 1.45, which is holding pretty well too. And overall, I am very much looking for some shorts for dollar CAD longer term. I was hoping to see a bit of a push to the upside first before that short. Still could be in play there because we haven't broken support yet. But again, my thinking with dollar CAD is that the market has been so stretched for so long, and we've come crashing into some big levels on the weekly chart where we could see some higher time frame sellers stepping into the market, especially buyers taking a lot of profit, so closing their buy positions. You can see massive resistance once over there, big push to the downside, second test over there, another big push to the downside, and finally a third test, which potentially could induce another move to the downside as well. So that's kind of where I get my bearish bias from. And looking at the daily chart, it looks like we are running out of steam. We had a very strong bullish move here, which didn't really amount to much. So that tells me that price is running out of steam and probably will give us a big sell. So on the 4-hour chart, I am looking for something like this, a push back into resistance again. Hopefully catch that third lower high. We've got one over there, second over there. Perhaps we catch a third, and that could be a lovely trade, at least back into support again. Doesn't have to be anything too crazy, but maybe we have the opportunity to hold on for a swing back into 1.416. So, yeah, dollar CAD I'm still pretty bearish on. We're still approaching support, which we could bounce from, so I'm not quite convinced on me selling into support. To begin with, if we do crash through, then I would contemplate something like this, a retest and some sells. If I go to the daily chart, there is a big level here, which I'm looking for price to come back and retest, which is just below 1.4. So I maybe look at try and continue the trade back to that level, but we'll have to wait and see. We need the breakout first. So yeah, dollar CAD shorts, if we can get another pullback high or potentially a breakout. Aussie dollar, again, this one I'm not really too keen on, to be honest, in terms of finding opportunities. Still not really convinced with this one. If I'm looking to long, it's because prices got back to support down here around 0.612. Then I'll be a lot more comfortable with the buys there. At the moment, I'm not really convinced with the price action. We've had some trouble trying to break resistance on the daily chart at a level here on the left, which price respected pretty well. I was hoping price would actually break it last week when we had that really strong bullish candle on Monday, but we never continued that momentum when you push right back down. Maybe price is going for another attempt to go and break through. Perhaps we'll have to wait and see. But overall, to me, Aussie dollar looks like a market that is just ranging, which says a lot because you've had a really big bearish move to the downside. So again, I assume price is ranging for potentially a move like this at some point. But again, in terms of actually trading that's where it becomes a little bit difficult. I either need price to push back into support so I can find some healthy entries with some healthy stop losses, or price breaks through and then I can find some pullbacks shortly afterwards. So something like this would make a lot of sense because we'll be breaking through structure at that point, and then we will have a swing low, a swing high, swing low again, and now a higher high, and that gives me the green light to be looking for some pullbacks and some long opportunities. So that's really what I'm waiting for Aussie dollar. Again, we're still a long way away from that forming. As the USD, for me, after the fact that we climb back beneath resistance here, it's not looking too good as well, and I'm looking to see if we can get a swing back into support again, which is back into the level here, probably for some buys later on as well. I will see what we can do in terms of resistance at that level around 0.578. If we can hold resistance, I do think that would be a nice place for a short. It depends on what the dollar is doing at the time, so I'll keep an eye on that. But if USD is going to have that deeper retracement back to 105,500 roughly, then we could be seeing as the USD push back down, but we'll have to wait and see. I'll see what we can do around 0.578, but there could be some nice shorts there, especially like the weekly candle, big rejection, the weekly chart, big piercing, weight to the upside, pulls back down. Possibly this week, we might see the continuation of that. So going to see what we can do at resistance, and if things look good, hopefully some nice shorts. And then, of course, you got your lovely gold and silver. So gold, bit of bearish momentum, but didn't really do too much. And I say that because we are still respecting 3K, which is a nice little area of consolidation, which gave us that lovely break to the upside. Looks like we've had a very corrective move to the downside. So you can see it's been very choppy, but overall the market is very corrective. And I do think possibly we're getting ready for another continuation. I have talked about some deeper pullbacks for gold back into 29.50. So retest the high here, or retest the consolidation, which I think is a really nice area for a bounce. Again, we're a long way away from those two levels, so not really interested just yet. At the moment, this level looks to be holding just fine, and it looks like maybe gold is getting ready for a bit of a swing back to the highs at 30.50, and the next target after that would be 30.75, but more so 3100. Just again looking at the big psychological levels to map out targets. But yeah, it does look like we're about to rally, and the fact that price had a couple of rejections here was still very slow, and this is where the momentum lies. There's a bit of a counter trend line here. If that can snap, that'd probably give us a nice rally there for gold. So even buys in the breakout make a lot of sense there, and targets back at highs I think make the most sense. I'm still pretty keen on silver longs. Annoyingly, it's kind of just floating above my zone that I'm wanting to buy. I was looking to see if silver could roll over a little bit further yesterday. Haven't quite seen that, unfortunately, just yet. Again, not going to rule that out because it still could come into play. But I really like this level here. 32.5 was solid resistance previously. And as you can see, we kind of just missed it there, unfortunately. But we could still roll over. We haven't pushed off yet. Again, my targets for silver still a push back into 35, which is that swing high just below 35. So that's still looking like a really nice opportunity. And I'm liking how silver's moving as well. It's still very corrective. Like I said, it looks like price is really finding support here. So maybe we do rally early, but again, I'm not going to try and force anything. I'm still waiting to see if we can get that push. If we do, brilliant. I'll find some entries, or if the entries do form, of course, I'll find some entries, and then, yeah, look to see if I can swing it back to the highs at around 35. And that looks like a really, really nice swing opportunity. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the USD pairs. Gold, silver still looking very bullish. USD looks like it might be seeing some weakness at the moment. I'm still looking to see if we can get a deeper retracement for the dollar.